Hello, welcome to episode 279 of the Casual Try Hard podcast. I'm Brian,
And I'm James.
and we are going to go over as many of the cards as we have for the limited archetypes.
Yeah, there was only one that isn't officially spoiled yet, and thankfully it was leaked, so I have an image.
Oh, okay, well, never mind then. We
Yeah.
have them all. I didn't
Well,
realize we...
yeah, we sort of have them all.
Good enough.
Yep.
So, Modern Horizons 3 is very powerful, unsurprisingly, and full of cards that have an SAT reading comprehension's worth of text on each one. To play the game, you must know which bubble to pick.
That's right. Must know which order to read the cards in.
Exactly. You must find the hidden text at the bottom that tells you the creature has trample or flying after it does 8 other things. But with that said, if there are cards you want us to talk about over the next, I guess, couple weeks, because the set should be fully spoiled
For next week's episode, I hope.
for next week's episode, yeah. So if there's any cards you want us to talk about, let us know. I need to post the most current version of the cube up because there's going to be a lot of Modern Horizons changes.
Yep.
But if you have cards you want us to talk about, cards you're interested in, if you have questions about layers, which according to Reddit I got right, so that was a win for me.
Good job. Layers are super confusing.
Yes. Let us know. Reach out to us on Twitter, aka X, Discord, Facebook, email. I've posted a few like, hey, here's an infinite combo that they just printed into the set, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone have fun. So if you want to reach out to us and have us talk about cards or things like that, please do, so we can fill the next couple weeks of episodes with cards that you're interested in hearing about.
Yeah, instead of it just being cards that we're interested in talking about. Because sometimes those don't overlap.
Sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Hopefully they do, but...
Also, you should follow on X to keep up to date with Brian's adventures with Arena.
Yeah, it hasn't crashed as much.
Yeah.
Or I've not been as grumpy. I don't think it's crashed as much. I've also been doing a lot of pushing of a wagon in the hot South Carolina sun. So
I thought you just said you weren't as grumpy.
I'm not as grumpy, but I definitely think I was dehydrated one of the days because I immediately woke up and was dizzy. So I may have forgot when it crashed.
There you go.
Just been in a haze.
Just lost it.
Yeah, but I'm sure when they add these cards on,
it'll break the
client will
break
no longer work.
Yeah.
Yes.
With all that being said, if you would like to support the show, there's a couple ways you can do it. The first is with our TCG player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. If you like any of these Modern Horizons cards or any other cards, shop with TCG player using our link, and you'll help support the show at the same time. It won't cost you anything extra, but helps us pay all of our associated fees for making the show, and we would appreciate it. If you want to support us more directly, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG is where you can do that. You get access to our show notes, so you get a sneak peek about what the upcoming episode is going to be about, and you get access to about another hour-ish of content out of us in the form of our pre-show. Every week we sign on a little early and kind of catch up, shoot the crap. Sometimes we talk about Magic, sometimes we don't. But it's completely unscripted, unedited, just two guys hanging out. And our patrons really seem to love it. So if you are interested in that, like I said, or you just want to support the show, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. You can chip in and support the show that way as well.
Yeah, so unscripted thing here.
Yeah.
So in the Discord this week, ended up being a 40-minute video from Amy the Amazonian.
Oh, I didn't watch it. I saw that you posted it, and I meant to go back and watch it, and I didn't have a chance.
So,
it was yesterday you did that, I think?
Yeah, so I'm just going to give everyone a quick synopsis of the video as opposed to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Save yourself 40 minutes. someone got an error on Arena that said, "Hey, your deck is not allowed, is invalid."
Okay.
And it was a deck that has like some like blue green alchemy commander
Okay.
that like you are able to, so it was a brawl deck where you played the blue green guy that basically you got to like basically acts like Momir, so you just pitch a
Okay.
land,
And you get a random
so
creature.
get a random creature. So the deck is um the commander,
Mhm.
98 lands and a splendid reclamation
Okay.
to get your lands
Get
that
all
you
your lands
pitched
back.
back. And the person went to play,
Mhm.
and they got this, your deck's invalid. And then they went into the logs
Mhm.
in like the program, and the error is, hey, uh minimum deck value is 0. Your deck is negative 333. So, with this error being present, people were able to go through and figure out how much every single commander is weighted
Hmm.
in the system.
For like
So,
matchmaking.
so Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, is 1800.
Holy moly.
And there's like 10 or 15 commanders that are like, when you play Golos, you only play other Goloses.
Yeah.
That.
Okay.
So it's like, so there's that chunk. And then there's commanders that are 1440. Commanders that they go down by 360. So it's like 1800, 1440, all the way down.
Mhm.
And so you can see how much your commander is worth. So basically what people were able to do is like, you know, hey, if this is like, they were able to like figure out the values by, seeing what the what's it called? What the value came out
Yeah.
in the thing. And so there's a bunch of commanders that were probably at some point 0
Yeah.
that got moved to negative 360.
Hmm.
It was either a like thing that they meant to do
Yeah.
to try to like increase, like basically these commanders all kind of suck. So we want those people to like be compared against those commanders,
Yeah.
right? So we're gonna make them negative 360. But if you didn't add enough cards to your deck to get back to 0, it wouldn't pair you at all.
Interesting.
But then people started going through, and then they would be like, okay, well, I know this commander is negative 360.
Mhm.
Well, what happens if now I put
A
uh,
lightning bolt in.
a lightning bolt in? What is my new value?
Yeah.
That tells me how lightning bolt is weighted for matchmaking.
Right.
They did it for every card on Arena.
Holy moly.
There is a spreadsheet with 12,000 plus entries,
Good
and
God.
it's every single card on Arena and the point value associated with it for, you would think, just Commander or for Brawl, but the point values don't make any sense for Brawl.
Huh.
So Zenith Flare
Doesn't
is
make any sense for Brawl.
the highest point value card out in the 99 at 210.
Holy
And Amy
moly.
the Amazonian brought up, well, that was because there was a like standard Zenith Flare cycling deck
Yeah.
that was all commons and uncommons.
Right.
So those would have a really low point value, but it was way better than the point value would make it out to be.
Yeah.
So if it was in a deck if it was in a if it was playing decks that were at its point value, it won way too much.
Mhm.
So if you make Zenith Flare really a high point value card, now you put it in like tier 2, tier 1 decks
Yeah.
where it actually like is actually closer to that level of deck.
Yeah.
And then like Paradox Engine, which is one of the best brawl cards.
Yeah.
And a bunch of the commanders that let you do Paradox Engine combo stuff have a really high point value, but Paradox Engine only has a point value of 9.
Huh.
And then History of Benalia has a point value of 45. 45 is there's like Zenith Flare, and then something I forget, and then the next highest point value is 45.
Wow.
History of Benalia is a 45. Banalish Marshall, the white, everything is +1/+1, is a 45. It looks like they share these tables perhaps across all unranked matchmaking.
Interesting.
So these point values for like History of Benalia were probably set in Dominaria Standard.
And then never changed.
And they never changed. So like, but they figured out the point value for every card on Arena.
Oh man.
So there's like dumb stuff where like Wrath of God is a 45.
Yeah.
But Day of Judgment's like a 9.
Interesting.
So you could manipulate your deck's point value by putting Day of Judgment in your deck over Wrath of God.
Huh.
And so there's like little things like that, but it's every card.
Wow.
It was unreal. And there's a I don't know if she had the link to the Google Doc or the Google sheet, but 2 people on Reddit just put together, here's the point value for every single card.
Wow.
So like, you know, it
they had to have done like a script or something for it though.
Yeah,
right?
they had. They surely did.
Yeah.
People that can computer harder than I can.
Yeah.
The guy whose internet wigs out every like 20 minutes because like it can't find the DNS server. People, but they just did a script and they're like, here you go, here's every value.
Cool.
And it's just like, okay. So it's interesting to have like this this view into matchmaking.
Yeah.
Where like the matchmaking is probably some combination of like your rank and win rate.
Yeah.
Then combined with like your deck. Like, oh, you're in like Diamond, but you're playing like some funsies deck. Maybe you won't get like the same matchmaking if you were playing like Rakdos Vampires.
Yeah.
Right? Or this might only be for like unranked, where it's like, okay, we don't have any way to know where you are, like your win rate as an account, and then like, oh, you're playing a deck that has like 100 points. You're gonna get trounced by a deck that has 500 points.
I mean,
so let's try to pair with other hundreds.
They might weight it different, but I wouldn't be surprised if some aspect of that system transfers over to the ladder too.
It could, where like, you're like playing whatever, and it's not a competitive deck, so maybe we'll like pair you against like some different stuff.
Well, I mean, like the example that you used to use, where you, what was it, Cerulean Drake or whatever, you were playing against Mono Red and then added Cerulean Drake and then never saw Mono Red again.
Yeah.
Like maybe you changed your point value.
Yeah, maybe they were just like, oh, this card's trash.
Yeah.
We're not gonna have you play real decks now.
Right.
And it's like, no, I wanted to play real decks because I put in the can't lose to real decks card.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you might be right. It might have just been like, oh, this card's worth like 1.
Right.
And the card I took out was like a real card that was like, 18.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got like banished to like less good decks.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
Yeah, but it is. So she brought up like, 1, we probably shouldn't know this much about matchmaking.
100%. That was going to be my next statement.
And like 2, like, do they have to go in and change stuff?
Well, that was where the next statement was going to lead to.
Okay, well, but yeah,
I don't think they go and rechange. They definitely have to do something. I don't think they're going to leave that information with us for long.
Yeah.
But I don't think they reweight the whole system right now either.
No.
Because wasn't there something a couple weeks ago about multiplayer arena that was like in a survey or something.
Yeah,
It,
maybe.
it sound whatever, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it sounded like they were gearing up for multiplayer on Arena, and maybe they pushed that a little bit harder, which then would change all of the point values.
Hmm. But it's funny that like some of the point values are just like, oh,
Legacy
this
holdouts
was
from
yeah, the holdouts from 4 years ago,
yeah,
where like History of Benalia hasn't been playable in like forever, and it's
right,
like in the group of the most powerful cards you can put in your deck.
yeah,
So like, and then like Engine is 5 times less, has 5 times less points. It's like 45 versus 9,
yeah,
and it is like the way like high powered brawl decks win games.
hmm,
And it's like these can't just be all for brawl,
right,
but then they also make no sense for constructed that is happening
yeah,
at all. So yeah, it was just really interesting that like, she's like, well, someone made an oopsie, and I'm guessing that someone went in and made them negative,
hmm,
but then didn't know that in the program there was a check for
for
your
negative,
deck has to have, yeah,
yeah,
you can't have a negative value.
yeah,
And it's something that happened, like that change happened recently because like the weird blue green deck was playable a couple months ago,
hmm,
and now isn't playable because of this error.
yeah,
So there you go.
interesting.
So I have saved you all 40 minutes, but I don't know. Click the video, give it a like for Amy.
Yeah,
But
I'll probably watch it. It seems like something I'd be interested in.
yeah, it's
Looking
like
behind the
definitely that
curtain.
like yeah that nuts and bolts like how does this thing work?
Yeah.
But I'm sure that like Arena HQ, someone is on their like third case of Mountain Dew Code Red, just trying to like
Trying to
fix the
chug
problem.
through it.
Ah,
Yeah.
because what's funny is like making these negative 360.
Yeah.
Right? You could have achieved the same thing by just adding 360
To everything
to
else.
every other commander,
Yeah.
but I'm assuming that there were less numbers to change,
Mm-hmm.
or it was easier to write that script than
Yeah.
it was to like write the whole script. Like take all the zeros, set them to this, as opposed to like each value plus this or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, like it just or each non-zero value plus this, and then we're good. But yeah, like so someone doing that just like has exposed the entire system.
Oops.
But I will say that like
That's what you get for hiring interns.
exactly. Um the fact that like it seems like a lot of the values are like maybe from standard
Yeah.
from like 4 years ago and nonsensical. Like that is like my general vibe
Mm-hmm.
for Arena is like we did this 3 years ago. Why would we go back and change it?
Oh,
Like
100%.
I don't want to. Do you want to? No? Okay, cool. We're just gonna leave it. I say 3 years ago,
6 years
like
ago?
like four, probably four, almost five. No, longer.
It was Ixalan.
Oh yeah, like that was right after Arena came out.
Yeah.
So yeah, so maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Because like yeah, would have been like 5 years. It was like when they did the first Arena tournament.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now for what we're
Anyways.
really here for.
Yeah.
For what we're really here for, not the look behind the curtain, but the thing you lovingly prepared. We're gonna talk about limited.
Yeah, Modern Horizons, like these sets are very good for limited. They always have been. Any of the Master sets or the Horizon sets, some of the best limited environments around. I plan on playing limited for when this comes to Arena, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of stoked for it, and figure we'll just talk about the different archetypes so anybody else that wants to is prepared.
Yeah. So
So first up, we have white blue energy flyers.
okay. Oh,
So the
there it
white,
is.
yeah, there it is. The white blue archetype is energy flyers. White blue is typically the flyers deck. Basically, any time we have limited. So basically, any set release, and this time it's combining it with energy. Here we have Emissary of Soulfire is the signpost uncommon for this archetype. It is a white, a blue, and a generic for a 1/4 Jin Monk. And when it ETBs, you get 3 energy, and you can pay 2 energy to put an exalted counter on a creature you control as a sorcery.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of weird that the 2 costs don't add up, but I guess they want to leave some energy left over for something else.
Yeah, there's an uncommon kind of ley line binding, static something.
Mm.
It's like 1 mana, exile a creature for as long as it's, or it's got a permanent for as long as the battlefield.
Yeah.
You get 2 energy, then you have to pay 1 energy to keep it on the battlefield each turn.
Gotcha.
So like having this like 1 random energy left over could work for a card like that.
Yep.
And there's enough ways to kind of get energy.
Yeah.
I like how you were like, it's weird that they don't match up the energy, and you just were like, exalted counter. That's normal. Just like, yeah, makes
whatever.
sense. That was in the last core set, right? Exalted counter. Yeah, I mean, so exalted is if a creature attacks alone, it gets +1/+1 for each instance of exalted.
Hey, look at that. Another mechanic that we didn't go over in our 50 mechanic episode.
Yeah. We got to we got to the infinite, and we still had a few more. So yeah, I mean, flyers are good for this, and
Yep.
it can kind of like you can put the exalted counters on creatures that don't matter,
Mhm.
or that aren't going to fly,
Right.
or that don't fly, so that like, you know, you don't want to like take your only flyer and then like pump a whole bunch of like put all the exalted counters on it, so then when they kill it, they also get all your counters.
Yeah, you get completely
just
blown out.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on my like 0/4 wall that I'm using to hold around
Right.
my flyers, and then I'll put it there. So you've got to kill my flyer because it's gonna kill you, and then I'll attack with my next thing on the ground that's gonna get +4/+4.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think the energy stuff I think there are enough like payoffs and enough powerful payoffs that is going to be good and limited, and perhaps even like good and constructed.
Mhm.
Right, the energy stuff seems pretty strong.
Yep. I agree. It is just as aggressively costed as it was last time around.
Yes. All right, what's up next?
Next up, we have blue and black. And this archetype is drawing cards. Obviously, the drawing cards is going to be more of a control-y type archetype. Whenever you draw, trying to get through your deck, find an answer, find your threat, whatever. It's going to be a little bit slower. You're putting resources into drawing cards. You're not putting resources into just getting your opponent dead, which kind of leans itself more towards a control strategy. The signpost here we have is Horrid Shadow Spinner. 1 blue black for a 2/3 horror. It has lifelink, and whenever Horrid Shadow Spinner attacks, you may draw cards equal to its power. If you do, discard that many cards.
So it's at baseline, draw 2, discard 2.
Yes.
I think another thing to like point out about black in this set, and you know, this is where my mind always goes. There's a lot of cheap reanimation stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also at a lot of it's at uncommon.
Yeah.
So like, you know, there's the rare Chthonian Nightmare, but like you've got Quest for the Necropolis, which is an uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
You have Victimize, which is an uncommon.
Yep.
So you have like enough. You have a number of ways that like you can get value from putting stuff into your graveyard.
Absolutely.
So you can have it. You can play this as the like I'm controlling kind of approach, or the I'm gonna pick a big Eldrazi idiot in my
Mm-hmm.
graveyard, and then I'm going to like bring it. Then I'm going to bring it back with one of the like multitude of reanimation spells that there are in
Yeah.
black in this set.
Well, I think those two archetypes overlap, though, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like
Yeah.
you can do both,
Yeah.
right? But like, I mean, it's good that they've set it up that you can like do both. That there's enough reanimation stuff that you can do that,
Yeah.
and there's enough, and like there's always going to be enough controlling
Yeah.
stuff in blue black. So yeah, no, this should be good. Like this card, like is like just a draw 2, discard 2 all the time.
Mhm.
Like if you get to do this twice, like your hand should be like as close
Perfect.
to perfect as you can make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that one is very good.
And there's some stuff in this set that triggers on draws too, right? This
There,
is an enabler.
there's a lot of like the like when you draw your second card, or there's at least a couple when you draw your second card, do a thing
Yeah.
cards. So yeah, this helps you do that as well. I'm trying to like look for some here. It's so hard because there's just so many mechanics, like you can't like keep them all straight. So there's Demon Inferior, which is 3 and a blue for a sorcery that you can put a non-land permanent second from the top,
Mhm.
or on the bottom. Well, I guess they get the pick. I mean, this spell costs 1 less to cast for each card you've drawn this turn.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
right, it would cost blue if you attacked with Horrid Shadow Spinner.
Right.
And then I'm trying to like look for another one, but there are a couple like if you draw your second card this turn or whatever. There we go. Emrakul's Messenger.
Mhm.
Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 0/1 Eldrazi spawn token.
Yep, there you go.
So there are a couple. Like yeah, so this kind of does when you have a bajillion mechanics. Like you can like it. The cards do so much because like oh well, if I have this card, it does this. Yeah, so this is good. It does a lot of different.
Yep.
And the lifelink keeps you alive.
Sure does.
All
All
right.
right. You want to take this one?
I guess I can maybe handle it. We got black red artifacts. So you're using different artifact synergies, like a combination of like you have here. Start with like some small stuff, and then you get like some affinity payoffs
Mm-hmm.
to like let you do bigger things. And then we have a card that is 100% going to be banned in Pauper, Cranial Ram. It is black red for an artifact equipment with living weapon, and the equipped creature gets +X+1, where X is the number of artifacts you control, and it equips for 2. So it is a harder to cast cranial plating.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have the instant like equip thing, but it also comes pre-equipped to a dude.
Sure does.
And then there's like I said, a number of affinity cards, and there's a bunch of other living weapon things.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen a bunch of like are there like sacrifice synergies for I guess there's the I was just talking about the Marionette Apprentice.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's like some in red where you have like some like
Yeah, I think I
sacrifice
remember seeing
synergies.
some sacrifice stuff.
So like again, you're probably gonna have to do kind of like all parts of the red black experience where you're like gonna be sacrificing artifacts for value, and then you're gonna just have a bunch of random artifacts around.
Yeah.
But I think we talked about in the pre-show. It's kind of funny that like I think in like the last 2 Modern Horizons, like blue or like blue red was like artifacts. Go big with them. Affinity thing. Stop monitor. And this set they were like black.
Black.
Black's the artifact color.
At least for
A little
limited
bit
it
of
is.
red, but it's but black. We're gonna put all these cards in black, and it's like it's an interesting choice, Cotton. We'll see how that works out for you.
Yeah, I mean the only thing I can say to that is that like those blue-red artifact synergy decks have been kind of like mid-rangey, and I would expect black-red to be a little bit less mid-rangey, especially when the signpost is something that just beats face.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then the other black red card,
Mhm.
The other uncommon, Pyretic Rebirth.
Yeah, what's that one?
2 black green for an instant. Return target artifact or creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Pyretic Rebirth deals damage equal to that card's mana value to up to 1 target creature or planeswalker. So it's like a 2-for-1, like get something out of the way, and also like, make sure you have gas for later on.
Mhm.
And then you have like Dross Claw, 1 in the black for an equipment with living weapon. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Whenever equipped creature attacks, each opponent loses 1 life.
Yeah.
There was that stupid helmet in Keldheim that like whenever like it was like a red equipment that whenever you attacked with it, your opponent lost a life.
Yeah.
And like so many games of like sweet like snow stuff were just like lost to the stupid battle screech, like the 1/2 like first strike flying hawk with the stupid helmet on it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I'm at like 1 and I can block this for days. We're gonna lose to this trigger. God. Or like you're at like 3 and they're just like throwing random creatures at you to just like
Get you down.
yeah, here, take 1.
Yep.
I'm gonna do this again next turn. You're like, oh, I can't draw, I can't draw what I need. Ah, yes. So yeah, I'm assuming this will be very much just like get you dead as quickly as possible.
Yep. Next up is red green, and the archetype here is Eldrazi spawn. Spawn tokens they're tokens. 0/1 colorless Eldrazi's, and they have sacrificed to get a colorless. The spawn tokens were original Zendikar, right? Not BFC.
Mm-hmm. BFC were Scions.
Scions, yeah.
So these are 0/1.
Yep. So this is going to be, I'm assuming, a ramp archetype.
Mm-hmm.
It says, even the smallest Eldrazi are worthy of fear. Overwhelm your opponent with your terrifying Eldrazi horde, aided by spawn tokens. I did notice that there's some like sacrifice synergies too, and all of these spawn tokens have a built-in sacrifice outlet, like they sacrifice themselves. So
yeah,
some of that stuff might carry over as well. But the signpost we have here is Writhing Chrysalis. 2 red-green for a 2/3 Eldrazi drone. It has Devoid, so it is colorless. When you cast this spell, make 2 Eldrazi spawn tokens. This has Reach, and whenever you sacrifice another Eldrazi, it gets a +1/+1 counter. Oh, there we go. So it's got some of that sacrifice synergy baked right into this card.
There's also another red-green card, if I can find it, or am I like in this like horrible... No, there was another one that did something similar to this.
Okay.
I do good show prep. I find cards the fastest. I swear to you.
That's all right. I just copied off of someone else's synopsis. So.
Okay, I can't read good apparently. I know it's
West Virginia getting you again.
Oh, exactly. We're gonna go wash our hands out. Oh, Titan's Vanguard. There we go. It's 3 red-green for an Eldrazi 5/5. Whenever you cast this spell, or whenever Titan's Vanguard attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on each colorless creature you control.
Oh, okay.
And it has trample, so like this lets you make your spawns bigger.
Yep.
So, yeah. So like together, like you take like this like helps you like. This pays you off for using them to ramp, and the other card pays you off for like using them to beat down.
Right.
So yeah, like, and this is like there are enough like giant Eldrazi as well that like it's not gonna be hard to like ramp yourself, like have a big thing to ramp into with your Scions that you've accumulated.
Yeah, there's a lot of Eldrazi at lower rarities too, so.
A lot of like them at uncommon.
Yeah, so it should show up pretty frequently, and in draft.
Mm-hmm. All right. So next up is modified bestow.
Okay.
So bestow gives you the versatility to play creatures and use them as auras or to buff other creatures. So you can go tall, and then like when you kill the creature, they fall off into like their own creatures again.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of have that ability. So we have Golden Tail Trainer is 1 green white for a 1/3. And aura and equipment spells you cast cost X less to cast, where X is Golden Trail Trainer's power. So like that's like put counters and auras on me to make
Mm-hmm.
your next one cheaper.
Or equipment.
Or equipment, yeah. And then whenever Golden Tail Trainer attacks other modified creatures you control, get +X until end of turn, where X is Golden Tail Trainer's power. So your other creatures that you've put equipment and auras on,
Yeah,
get bigger.
yeah. There's some parallels between bestow and equipment, where bestow is kind of quasi like enchantment equipment.
Mm-hmm.
In that they both kind of solve the same problem. When you're playing a go tall deck, you always run the risk of getting blown out by a removal spell because you invest a whole bunch of resources into one creature, and then one card from your opponent is enough to make that creature go away, and then all of your work is undone. Equipment kind of gets around that by staying on the battlefield. You still have to pay to reattach it to something, but at least it's still on the battlefield after the creature dies. And bestow gets around that by the aura turning into equipment, so you don't get as punished, or the chances for a blowout aren't as big.
So,
and then modified kind of ties everything together, where if you have a modified bonus, it counts auras, equipment counters, yada yada yada.
yeah, and like the modified thing is good because it lets you like bridge archetypes,
Mm-hmm.
where like green's getting +1/+1 counters to do black green.
Yep.
But now those are modified, so then they can work your white stuff.
Yep.
I had a random thought it just hit me that bestow and mutate are like the mirror opposite of each other.
Oh, definitely.
Like bestow, you pile them up and then they break apart when the one carrying them dies.
Yep.
And mutate, if
You're
the one
them.
dies, they get combined and then they just all away. I had like never put that together before. Of like, oh, like they're the same thing, but like just
opposite.
Well, one has less risk and one has all of it.
That's
all
right.
of the risk. All right, so then we have black white modified eyes.
Sure.
So it's the black white sack artifact where you kind of get paid off for sacrificing creatures that have modifications on them, which you normally wouldn't want to do, right? You normally would want like the creatures that you sacrifice to have as little invested in them as possible.
Yeah.
So we have our card for this is Ondu Knotmaster. It is 2 black white for core rogue, and it's an adventure card. So the creature has lifelink and it's a 2/2. And whenever another modified creature you control dies, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Ondu Knotmaster.
Okay.
All right. So if you put 1 counter on something and you sacrifice it or it dies, you get that counter plus an additional 1 on the Knotmaster. And then the spell is Throw a Line, which is just black-white for sorcery, and distribute 2 +1/+1 counters among 1 or 2 target creatures. I do believe that adventure is also a mechanic that we did not talk about.
It is. There we go.
In our thing. So like this card's kind of self-contained in that it puts 2 counters on things.
Yep.
Or puts a counter on 2 things. And then is it giving you the counters that then it cares about when they die?
Yep.
Um,
You just got to find a way to make them die.
yeah, I think that like you really want to look at making sure that like you have like one modification
Yeah.
on a thing that's going to like be sacrificed or die, or like you have like bestowed creatures onto things, so that way like
They stick around.
you lose the body, but you're keeping that modification.
Yeah.
Like in some way, shape, or
So
form, or
living
like
weapon would work the same way then, because it's a modified creature that you didn't really have an investment in.
yeah, like you still have the equipment at the end.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like, not that this is gonna be in this set, but like Skull Clamp,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where like you put the
Oh
equipment
yeah,
on
that's great.
it dies. It was equipped when it died,
Yep.
so like you kind of get to do the whole thing. So yeah, just like, you know. Now this is also good, I guess. Like if you have a creature you've gone tall on,
Mm-hmm.
and then your opponent kills it, at least you get something out of it by moving counters or putting counters on the Knotmaster, as opposed to just like getting nothing and liking it.
Yeah. The
So
the other synergy that I was going to point out is with the Eldrazi Scion tokens. You know, if you modify your tokens, they have a built-in way to off
oh
themselves.
yeah, mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that's a good point. Like just some way to get a counter on them or something.
yeah, I mean, if you like put a decent bestow something on a Scion, it's basically just a living weapon, but
Oh yeah,
it has a way to like off itself for a combat trick or whatever.
yeah, that's a good point.
Yep. Next up, we have, where are we? Blue red. This is going to be energy mid range. So this is, I'm assuming, going to be the main energy
Mm-hmm.
archetype. Gives you ways to manage different types of engines. That is something that like they included the first time around, but I don't think was super leaned into. In Kaladesh, we had the fabricators.
Mm-hmm.
There was a vertical cycle, a common, an uncommon, and a rare that all did something, and if you assembled them, they were a machine. We also had things like Dynavolt Tower. Last
Mm-hmm.
time we had energy that were kind of like an engine. But this time it sounds like that's what we're getting our engines. And there are a couple cards that are like this. The signpost for this archetype is it Genatorium? Generator Generatorium? A difficult word.
Generatorum? I don't know. Yeah, it seems made up.
Yeah. It's a blue and a red for an artifact. If you would get one or more energy, get that many energy plus one instead. And you can tap to draw a card. Activate only if you paid or lost 4 or more energy this turn. So this increases energy production and gives you kind of a bonus for spending it.
Yeah, or generating it, right? Like if you have 2 cards that generate 1 energy,
Mm-hmm.
that gets you to 4 energy, and then this you get to draw a card.
No, you only draw a card if you've paid or lost 4 or more energy. So you have to have spent it.
Oh, paid. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought it was. Sorry. So you
But
got to. Okay, fair.
there's that blue card. It's like a vehicle that's like an
Oh
all-in-one
yeah,
energy machine.
yeah. Like makes energy, and then like you can crew it for 4 energy.
Well, it's got like 3 different energy abilities, I think. I'm
Yeah,
looking
like
for
it
it right now.
yeah, it makes 2 energy, I think.
Of course, I
I
don't
don't
see
know
it now.
why. I know the cards exist. Like I know I'm not like making them up, but then I just literally can't
Can't
find
find
them.
them. Yeah, I'm having the same
Like
problem right now.
why? Like why is this? Um, and it's a vehicle. Like it should stick out,
Yeah,
but
but it's not.
it costs like 3 and a blue. Like I even know the casting cost.
Yeah, yeah, I can't find it now. It's just missing.
Oh, bespoke battle wagon.
That's it.
3 and a blue for a vehicle. It has tap, get 2 energy. Tap, pay 2, tap target creature.
Yep.
Tap, pay 3, draw a card. Pay 4, energy. All the pays are in energy.
Yep.
A bespoke battle wagon becomes an artifact creature until the end of turn, and it has crew 4, and it's a 5/6.
Yep.
So it is like it gives you a way to spend energy, to generate energy. It just kind of does everything. Like it's a free, oh gosh, icy manipulator every other turn
Mm-hmm.
at like at its like worst case.
Right.
So, but yeah, like in limited, like I think it's gonna be pretty easy to get the energy stuff going.
Yeah, it seems like
Uh,
it's pretty abundant.
and then like cards like Galvanic Discharge are just gonna be like kind of amazing in decks
Yeah,
like this.
definitely.
So, yeah, yeah. Someone in Discord asked like why is energy so good?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you just have this resource that gives you cards for nothing,
Right.
right? And now it does matter. The nothing is how much did they price the energy for?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are we getting energy? Are we getting cards where they're cognizant of the energy on the cards um and they've costed the cards appropriately for the potential cards that they give you, or do they just cost the cards like they didn't have energy on them?
Yeah.
And like Galvanic Discharge is cost like there's no energy on it.
Right. It's was it Strangle we just had?
Yeah, it's an instant. But yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like Strangle or like kind of Unholy Heat,
Yep.
you know, somewhere in that general ballpark. And like that card's kind of the energy's free.
Mm-hmm.
Tune the narrative. Blue draw a card.
Yep.
Get 2 energy. Blue draw a card is great.
Right.
Maybe a little bit under because now we get like a Scry or a Surveil.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's pretty close to rate.
Yeah, but
And
2
so
energy is
like
also like almost a card.
yeah, 2 energy is half a card with the is it Generatorium, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um but like with then there's Rush of Inspiration, the blue red hybrid card.
Yep.
That's draw 2 then discard a card at random unless you pay 2 energy.
Mm-hmm.
There the 2 energy is literally a card.
Right.
Right, you get to keep a card in hand if you had 2 energy.
Yep.
So it's going to depend on how free the energy is.
Right.
But like getting an extra energy every time you generate an energy, like now all your cards are like really, really, really good.
Yeah, I mean what was the original energy deck in standard? It wasn't Teamer. It was Winding Constrictor.
Oh,
Winding
it was black
Constrictor,
green.
Glint Sleeve Siphoner. And
Mm-hmm.
the reason it did that was because Winding Constrictor boosted all your energy output.
Yeah, fair point. I had forgot about that.
Yep.
I was like, Aetherworks Marvel? Was that the first one?
Nah, the green black one.
Yeah, yeah. All right, next up we have green black modified adapt.
Mm-hmm.
So we're adding counters to things with adapt to then get kind of spell like effects out of them.
Yep.
So we have expanding ooze, which is 1 black green for creature ooze. Big surprise. It's a 3/3.
Ooze.
And this has adapt 1 for black green, and then whenever it attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target modified creature you control. And now there was just a recently spoiled black green card that's like an uncommon
Mm-hmm.
that is Cursed Wombat. It's black green for a 2/3, so Winding Constrictor stats.
Yep.
2 black green adapt 2. And then permanents you control have whatever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on this permanent. Put an additional +1/+1 counter on it. This ability triggers only once each turn.
There you go.
So
Almost Winding Constrictor.
Almost, like, is it better? I guess Winding Constrictor is just any type of counter.
Yeah, and it's not gated per turn.
Yeah, fair. Um, so there's like a couple cards. There is the like Evolution Witness that is oh gosh, what is that card? 1 green green 2/1 enters play. Return a card from your graveyard to your hand.
Eternal Witness.
Eternal Witness. Thank you. Um, that has like Adapt 2, and when one or more +1/+1 counters are put on Evolution Witness, return target permanent from your graveyard to your hand.
Oh yeah.
Now we talked about last week. Adapt only works if you don't have a counter on the.
Right.
But these effects that trigger when counters go on, you can proliferate and add a counter, and then it'll trigger. You can put a +1/+1 counter on some other, and it'll trigger again.
Yep.
So, like, the adapt things will let you kind of do get these spell effects multiple times.
Yep.
As opposed to just once. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Next up.
Good.
Yeah. Next up, we have Red White Energy Aggro. Let's see. It's an aggressive archetype that'll do whatever it takes to keep the energy and use it for attack bonuses. So I'm guessing it's going to be go wide, pump your team using energy type stuff. It's typically what Red White is. The signpost here is Conduit Goblin. It's a red and a white for a 2/2 Goblin Warrior. When it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, you can pay an energy. If you do, another target creature you control gets +1/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. Oh, that's pretty good.
We also have the red white uncommon Scurry of Gremlins.
The Gremlins, yeah.
So it's an enchantment, and when it enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 red gremlin creatures, and then you get energy equal to the number of creatures you control. And then you can pay 4 energy, and creatures you control get haste and +1/+0.
Oh, yeah.
So, like,
that would definitely reward you for going wide.
Yeah, if you have 2 other creatures, you basically make a heroic reinforcements.
Yep.
If you have like 6 other creatures, you like it's a heroic
game.
It's a heroic it's heroic reinforcements plus trumpet blast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just make as many things as you can, get as much energy as you can, and like you said, win the game.
Yep.
I think is where it goes.
Yep. Smash face.
Smash. Hulk smash.
Yeah, I don't think Hulk is red white though.
No, Hulk's green.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Probably red green.
Probably.
The last limited archetype here we have is green blue. And this is going to be Eldrazi Ramp. It's going to use Eldrazi Spawn to ramp into bigger Eldrazi. The signpost here we have is Planar Genesis. Green blue for an instant. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tapped. If you don't, put a card from among them into your hand instead. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So it's kind of Growth Spiral. Kind of.
Yeah, like...
It's not as good as Growth Spiral, though, right? Or is it better than Growth Spiral?
I think it's better. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's better.
Okay.
My thought process is if you cast a Growth Spiral without a land in your hand,
yeah,
it's 2 mana draw card.
Right.
Maybe put a land in play. If you cast this with a land in your hand, it's 2 mana, find a land.
Yeah.
Put it into play. If you cast Growth Spiral and you need a threat, you get to look at 1 card for a threat.
Oh,
if
okay.
If you cast this and you need a threat,
yeah,
you look at 4 cards for your threat.
I
So
gotcha.
like when you don't have the land
Yeah.
in hand, this is better than Growth Spiral. And when you need a creature, it's better than Growth Spiral. The only time it's not really is like if you have like I even think it's better like if you want to ramp, I guess like if you just care about putting an extra land on the battlefield, I guess it's probably better than Growth Spiral because of the awkward times of like you draw a land, you don't draw, you have the land in hand, and then you one.
Yeah.
So you like put your land in hand, and then if you don't hit another land, you didn't actually ramp.
Mhm.
You just got like one card deeper.
Right.
So this like when you cast it turn 2 with a land in your hand, the odds of you having 4 mana on turn 3 are probably higher than with Growth Spiral.
Yeah.
Like if you just have one land. And then like if you would be like, oh, I have 2 lands in hand, I could really use a 4-drop.
Mhm.
This gives you a better chance at a 4-drop. So I think it's better.
Yeah. It's
I think I
worded
talked.
trickily.
Yes, when I first read it, it didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
So it's like you can put a land from the top 4 onto the battlefield. And if you don't put the card onto the battlefield, it goes into your hand.
Right. But you get to
So you
choose either way.
yes.
You don't have to
And
put a land if you
if you take the land and then you don't want to put it into play for some reason, you don't have to. And you don't have to reveal.
right, but you also like if you have a land and a whatever you were looking for, you get to pick either one. It's not like
Yes.
you can only get the card if you miss. You get to choose
Yes.
if you want to miss or
You get to
not.
choose land
Yeah.
or spell.
But you get to choose after you've looked at them.
Yes, you
Yeah.
look and then you look and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I really want this 5-drop. It's going to win me the game.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it." And what's interesting is like it's not limited to creature. Like you don't have to reveal.
Yeah. I guess
So,
like the only time that a growth spiral would be better is
like if you have cards that care about drawing like additional cards, because this doesn't draw.
yeah. No, yeah, I guess that's really the only time. I was gonna say
Like,
growth spiral always gets you, but it doesn't. Never mind.
I think the spot that Growth Spiral is better is when you have like 2 lands in your hand
Mhm.
and the top card of your library is the card that you want,
Yeah.
because then you get the card that you want plus the ramp. Because then you get to put the
Yes.
land into play,
Yeah.
and then have the other land in hand to like actually ramp.
Right.
But like if the card that you want is 2 cards down, like this is then maybe probably better,
Right.
right? Like Growth Spiral is like you never have really control of Growth Spiral giving you like the ramp plus the cards you want.
True.
But the times when it does that, when it's like the top card of your deck is the exact threat you wanted, and you put a land into play,
Yeah.
Growth Spiral's better. But all the times that it's like, you know, some stupid 2-drop,
Hmm.
or you don't hit the land to like put it into play,
Yeah.
like Growth Spiral's like worse. So I think this is just like Growth Spiral with less of a fail, like more control,
Hmm.
right? You have a better. You can say, I want to ramp with this, and you know, in like a 17 land limited deck, you
Hmm.
should probably ramp with it.
Yeah.
And if you don't ramp with it, you're probably going to lose the game because your next 4 cards were not lands.
Yeah.
You're missing your 3rd land drop.
And I guess for constructed, like growth spiral doesn't really help you find your prime time,
No.
but this
You just,
certainly does.
yeah. I mean, this is like, I guess another way to think about this, it's a split card. It's impulse,
Hmm.
or it's like impulse plus like explore,
Yeah.
right? It's like impulse and then like explore, or impulse and growth spiral.
Yeah.
And the fact that sometimes it gets to be impulse probably makes it better.
Yep.
Um, and there are a lot of big Eldrazi's And a
yeah.
lot of like medium Eldrazi's that have like blue-green kickers or blue-green abilities with
Weird
them.
casting
So there's
costs, yeah.
Wasescape Battle Mage is a 1 and a wingding. One is specifically a colorless 2/2 with a kicker of green or a kicker of 1 and a blue. And if you pay the green kicker, exile target artifact or enchantment opponent controls. If you played the blue kicker, return target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand. So, like, it's a 2-mana 2/2 that if you play it on 3 mana, you get to eat an artifact.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, like, there's enough, like, little Eldrazi to kind of, like, bridge you to your Null Drifters and your, was it guy, Twisted Riddle Keeper.
Yep.
So there's enough things to kind of bridge you to that. So, now, recently, I think Thunder Junction is different. I haven't played Thunder Junction Limited, but from what I have heard, it is a little slower and a little more forgiving for like some of the ramping or like 5-color strategies.
Yeah.
Like this is the kind of thing I would want to do. I just hope it like works.
Yeah.
But it is it should be interesting. And yeah, I also think like the talk about when is Planar Genesis or Growth Spiral better is interesting too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
it's an interesting card, yeah.
They're different,
yep.
but like, you know, it's like what do you want out of the card,
right?
And like, you know, and I think for Modern, a thing that's important is like consistency.
Yeah.
Right, and maybe Planar Genesis gives you more consistency, but like, could there be some crazy deck that's just like 4 Growth Spiral, 4 Planar Genesis, and you're just like, I'm
12
putting as many
Spiral. It's just
12
Explorers and Growth Spirals and Planar Genocide.
Now this is from like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
How good is this card in like OG Team or Scape Shift?
Oh god. Oh yeah, pretty good probably.
Right? Like it finds like they played some pretty garbage cards to try to find Scape Shift.
Yeah.
And like your Explorer just finds you Scape Shift later in the game.
Bust out your Valakuts, boys.
Yeah, we're doing it. We're going back to the olden times.
Yeah.
Just like, but you gotta like play your subtleties and your Force of Negations.
Oh, well, sure.
And all that. Of course, you gotta do those things in your endurances. You gotta have all your free spells.
Why not?
To make yourself feel good. So, I was down at the game store today, talking to some random Magic players, and we were talking about Primal Prayers card we'll talk about next week.
Okay.
And he's like, yeah, but like I don't really play Modern, so my opinions probably don't matter. And I was like, so the last time I seriously played Modern, you paid mana for your spells. And he's like, God, why would you do that? I'm like, I know, right? Like, that's how old I am. Is you had to like tap your mana spells in Modern.
Yeah.
You didn't get a double Thoughtseize in a 4/3 for 1 mana. Like that was not how it was back in the day.
Yep.
So yeah, that I think that is the line. Is my Modern experience is back when you paid mana for all of your spells.
Back when Urza was a problem.
Oh yeah, that's right. Like that would have been. Yeah, Modern Horizons 1. I guess we had like one set of. We only had like one free spell that like mattered, and that was Force of Negation.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the white one to be the most powerful one out of the.
Per Mr. Tom Ross.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was really trying to go wide with his
Man, I wonder what he's
things.
doing now.
I wonder if he's like everyone else and is just like doing Commander content.
I haven't heard anything from him since like competitive Magic fell apart.
So 8 months ago on Reddit, Whatever happened to Tom Ross and r/magic? We're not the only ones. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no idea.
So at least someone else on the internet was thinking, what happened to Tom Ross?
Wasn't just us.
Here. He is infrequently active on Twitter. He's had like 6 tweets in the last like 2 years. Maybe he's just, gone on to
bigger and better things.
Yeah, just like, hey, I'm hanging it up.
Probably wearing a leather jacket though.
Probably, and looking like super cool.
Yep.
All right. So, fans, if like Tom Ross is somehow your neighbor, we'd like to have him on the show.
We got any listeners in Louisiana?
Yeah, let us know that. One, let us know Tom's all right.
Yep.
And
just
two,
checking in.
We can have him on the show. We can talk about Infect. We can talk about his time at WotC.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. So with all that, I think we got a show.
We got a show.
So, right, big week for everyone. If you've got cards you want us to go over, now is the time. Let us know in the next week. I know I have a few cards that I want to talk about. But yeah, if you've got cards you want us to go over, please, Facebook, Discord, X, email, mainly Discord, but like reach out, say hey, and let us know what you want us to talk about.
Absolutely.
We are here for you, the people.
That's right. If you're looking to support the show, there's a couple ways you can do it. The first is our TCG player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Surf on over there, do your shopping, and support the show at the same time. We would greatly appreciate it. Doesn't cost you guys anything extra than what you would normally be paying for your Magic product. If you're looking to support us more directly, Patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG is where you can do that. You sign up and you get access to our show notes. You get access to our pre-show, and you get the undying love from the two of us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So with that, we'll catch you on the internet.
We'll catch you on the internet.
I remembered this week.